Hi, I'm Nina Melendez, and welcome to LinkedIn News Live, a show about the world of work and our place in it. Over the past 5 years, the job landscape has changed drastically. Industries have been upended and careers have been reimagined, leaving many professionals asking themselves, what's next for me? Here at LinkedIn, we compiled a Jobs on the Rise list, 25 of the fastest growing job titles over the past 5 years. We're going to be speaking with a specialist for one of the top job titles first, but let's take a look at that list. Joining me now is Juliette Farreau. She is an Associate Editor of Global Projects here at LinkedIn. Juliette, so good to see you.
Hi, Nina. Thank you for having me.
Juliette, let's just get some context out of the way. How was this list compiled? What was the data you looked at?
Yes, so this list is based off of exclusive and unique LinkedIn data. The rankings are calculated based off of the job titles that have experienced the highest growth rate over the past 5 years. And we use this data based off of member profiles on LinkedIn, not from job postings.
So let's look at some of those job titles. Give me the top 5 fastest growing job titles on the list. What are they?
So the top 5 span a wide range of industries, as you can see. Coming out on top, we have vaccine specialist, unsurprisingly, and that's followed by diversity and inclusion manager, customer marketing manager, machine learning engineer, and process development scientist.
And so there were 25 in total on the list, yeah?
Yeah.
Of those 25, when it comes to salary range, which ones were the top ranking?
Great question. So among the highest in terms of salary are head of financial planning. And with that, we also are seeing mergers and acquisition managers, site reliability engineers, and chief human resources officers.
I wasn't surprised by the head of financial planning there on the list, but I was a little surprised at chief human resources. I didn't know that was such a lucrative job. That's great. And, let's look at how the pandemic has impacted the list this year. What's your take on that?
Totally. So the pandemic has definitely accelerated the changing world of work, which we've all seen from shifts to things like hybrid offices, remote work, et cetera. A number of industries have been completely upended, but at the same time, many workers are leaving their jobs in search of something new. So this list is really meant to provide insight into where long-term opportunities lie. And we're seeing 2 big trends coming out of the pandemic that are shown on this year's list. First and foremost is healthcare, which is a trend we're seeing globally across other country lists as well. The huge increased demand for healthcare-related jobs like vaccine specialists and surgical intensive care nurses, postpartum nurses are showing that it's a trend that's here to stay and it's only becoming more important. And the second trend we're seeing is the rising role of tech. More and more jobs are requiring technical experience as companies across different industries are having to lean on technology in new ways. And this is something that's different than pre-pandemic, where these roles were predominantly in the tech industry. Now we're seeing titles like customer solutions engineer, which is a technical role in the sales field, show up, as well as titles like back-end developer and site reliability engineers that exist across industries.
Juliette, I want to say hi to some folks who are joining us. We actually have people from all over the world joining us today. We've got Karen from Chicago, Christine from New York City. Welcome back, Christine. Jason from Wisconsin, Arnold from Colombia, Neon also from Colombia, and Joyce from Ghana. Thanks for watching. We're talking about the jobs on the rise. We've compiled a list of 25 fastest growing jobs here in the United States. And Juliette helped compile this list. So if you have any questions for Juliette, please put them in the stream. Juliette, what about where these jobs are located? Are there any areas, any localities that these jobs are concentrated, or are they sort of all across the United States?
Yeah, so these jobs are really all over the United States. The most common cities hiring these roles are some of the biggest cities in our country. New York City, for example, which is where I'm located, comes out on top. And companies in New York City are hiring for over half of the positions on the list. San Francisco also is hiring a lot, particularly for technical roles, like I mentioned before. There's also Boston, which is hiring for a ton of healthcare and sales positions. But we're also seeing opportunity in some smaller cities like Orlando and Salt Lake City as well. So not just in the big cities.
And do many of them offer remote working options?
Yes, great question. So nearly all of the titles that rank do offer remote positions, some more than others, and 10 out of 25 that rank offer 25% or more remote work opportunities. We are seeing a trend towards remote work, particularly among a lot of the tech positions. So business system administrators and back-end developers, for example, are two examples of titles that have nearly 50% of their hirings labeled as remote. Unsurprisingly, though, there are positions that have a lot less remote work opportunities, and a lot of these come from healthcare. So jobs like surgical intensive care nurses or postpartum nurses are jobs that remote work is a bit less feasible.
And last question for you, Juliet. For people who are just starting off their career, are any of these jobs good ones in that they require maybe the least amount of experience, or they're great entry-level jobs?
Yeah, so there is opportunity for career starters on this list, with roles requiring less than 4 years of experience. Business development representatives, for example, which are early career salespeople, have about an average of 3 years of prior experience. Process development scientist is another one, which are early career researchers in product and manufacturing. They also have about 3 years, as well as machine learning engineers. I do want to call out that these roles don't necessarily mean you need to have 3 years of experience in that field. And I think that this is where skill set comes in, particularly if you're ready to make that job pivot. This is something that you can apply the skills you've already acquired in one field to bring to another.
Juliet, thank you. Thanks for letting us pick your brain, and congratulations on all the hard work on putting this list together.
Thank you, Nina. Great speaking with you.
That was Juliet Farrow. She is an associate editor of global projects here at LinkedIn. So now that we know what the fastest growing jobs are, how do we get them? Joining us now is Rodrigo Puga. He is the Vice President of Global Talent Solutions at Pfizer. He knows everything there is to know about the company. He has been there for over 24 years. And he also received his MBA from the Universidad de los Andes. Rodrigo, thank you for joining us on the show today.
Thanks for the invitation, Nina. A pleasure to be with you and our audience.
So there's a small delay I'm hearing. So if there's a pause in my question or answer, we'll just deal with the pause and go straight to the answer. Let's start with what the company looks for when Pfizer is hiring. Just generally, what are some traits for individuals that Pfizer looks for when interviewing and when hiring?
So, of course, on top of the basic requirements that we post for any particular job, I would say that there are 3 key priorities for us. The number one is to make sure that the future Pfizer colleagues are going to be inspired by our purpose. The second one is that they are aligned to our culture and our core values. And the third one, and it's something that we are really putting a lot of effort, is to make sure that they can bring their full self. Actually, we just changed our name of our department. We are no longer human resources, and now we are called people experience. And there is a very fundamental change behind that, because we want to make sure that we are embracing the full human being, not only the professional part, but all the different aspects of our colleagues. So again, it's the inspiration to our purpose, the alignment to our values, and the ability for them to bring their full self to work.
So in that vein, Rodrigo, tell me a little bit about what the culture is like at Pfizer.
Sure. So it all starts with our purpose, as I was referring. A few years back, we declared a new purpose, which is very simple but very compelling. Our purpose is breakthroughs that change patients' lives. And what we mean by that is that we don't want to be a company, a pharmaceutical company that is just developing medicines. We want to develop breakthroughs. We want to find cures for unmet medical needs. We want to find vaccines for pandemics like we did, right? I think that was a very clear demonstration on how we can deliver on our purpose. And more recently, back in December, we announced the development of an antiviral to treat also COVID-19. And maybe those are the two examples that are widely known, but this is what we do every day in so many different diseases and therapeutic areas. So if we want to be a company that is constantly bringing to society breakthroughs, we want to have the right culture. And we also took a lot of time to reflect on what is the right culture. And our culture is based on 4 simple but core values. Those are courage, excellence, equity, and joy. And let me talk a little bit about each of them. If you want to be an innovative company, you definitely need to have innovative people. And one of the most important values in order to be innovative is to be courageous. We want to have courageous people that it's willing to challenge the status quo, to speak up, and to be very decisive. But we also know that we have a huge responsibility because in the end, everything that we do is impacting on patients and people in general. So excellence, it's also one of our core values. We want to make sure that we are performing at our best and that everybody has clarity in who's doing what, and we are measuring also our outcomes. Then we talk about equity. And equity is because we want that the colleagues that are part of the Pfizer family can be seen, heard, and cared for. We want, as I was mentioning, to bring their full self, but we also want to reflect this into the society by creating diversity in our clinical trials, reducing healthcare disparities, and making our medicines available to all those who really need them. And finally, joy. We want to enjoy the ride. We want to be proud of what we do. And we want to have fun because we dedicate a lot of time to work in the company. So those are the core 4 values that represent our culture.
Rodrigo, I love the idea of having courage and joy in those 4. I think that's phenomenal. I'm going to ask you a small favor before we continue. Do you mind just refreshing your browser because you've got a small lag and you're a bit pixelated. So if you just hit refresh, you'll pop out and you'll pop back in, and we'll see you in like 3 seconds. In the meantime, I'm going to say hi to some people who are joining us. Again, around the world, it's wonderful seeing this. Patrick from Kenya, hello. Karen from New Jersey, Arturo from Puerto Rico, and Dr. Jacqueline from New York City. Great to see you, and thank you for joining the show. We are speaking with Rodrigo Pugo. He is, Puga. I'm sorry, Rodrigo. He is a VP of Talent Solutions at Pfizer. So if you have any questions about what it takes to join the Pfizer team, this is the person you want to speak with. Rodrigo, when I think of all of the people that I'm sure that you've hired or that you've interviewed, what makes a great candidate? What do you see in a person that you go, oh, that they're a great candidate, and then you hire them and you say they were a great hire? What are some characteristics?
That's really a great question. And I would like to start with one phrase that I really love from one Harvard professor, Claudio Fernandez Arauz. He's an expert on the talent field. And he says that normally an interview is a conversation between 2 liars. The candidate that is trying to show that he or she is the best candidate, and the company representative that is trying to show that this is the best company. And actually, when we reflect back and we see which are the ones that really perform well and that embrace our culture and succeed and thrive, what we identified is that the key element is to have authentic conversations. So a lot of the focus that we put during the interview is in getting an authentic conversation, on getting to know the real person, and to talk about these aspects of the culture and the purpose and the interest. So one of the principles that we also follow is, of course, we have some prepared questions where we want to know a little bit more about the experience and the skills, and we also have a framework around our values. But the questions that the candidates are asking are as important as our question, because through their questions we can also get to know the person. So if I have to summarize, I would say that it's the ability to get an authentic conversation, and for that person to show that he or she will be able to bring their full self, again, aligned to our purpose and our values.
But that's also a great tip for when you're interviewing, to make sure that you're prepared to ask questions and for the questions to sort of reflect the things that you're interested in.
Totally, yeah. 100%,
and I love that idea that it's a conversation between two liars. And what about Rodrigo, any misconceptions people might have about what it's like to work at Pfizer? When I think of it, a pharmaceutical company and pharmaceutical development seems very serious, but you have joy in your 4 core values. So any misconceptions that you'd like to clear out?
Well, I don't know if there are misconceptions. What I can say is that, working here, it's if you believe in our purpose and you like our culture, this is a great place to be. Something that I would like to highlight is on top of our values that I already described, we worked a lot on creating growth opportunities for our colleagues. We talk about non-linear careers. So that's something that we also explore during the interviews. The willingness from our candidates and future colleagues to do, zigzag moves within the career. And that could be within the same function or exploring different functions. And, I can use my example. I have, as you described, more than 20 years working with the company. And I worked in sales, in marketing, business development, finance. I ran some countries for the company. I work in global marketing. And now I'm working in people experience. And this is a representation of what we love doing. We want to create those opportunities for the colleagues that, of course, have the initiative and the incentive to do so, because we believe that this is great for our colleagues, but we also know that it's great for Pfizer. You can bring very different perspectives to the table. And in my case, I am leading talent for the corporation, but I am surrounded by a great group of talent experts. And I am bringing my more than 20 years of experience in different fields and areas. So that's something that we put a lot of attention. Something else that I would like to share with the audience is we are working very, very hard in removing bureaucracy and reducing the red tape. And maybe there is a misconception that pharmaceutical companies are slow and take a lot of time, but our new CEO, Albert Bourla, has clearly declared that because we have the first responsibility with our patients, we don't have time to lose. We need to be there and to move at the pace of science, but at light speed at the same time. So we make sure that we are not dedicating any time for bureaucracy or for unnecessary hierarchies, but rather we are dedicating the time to solve what we need to solve for our patients.
Well, when I look at your career trajectory within the company, Rodrigo, it looks like there's also so much room for folks within to grow and to move upwards. And it seems like it's a company that fosters that as opposed to having employees leave and find growth opportunities elsewhere. I have a couple of questions actually from our audience. A question from Shruti, who asks, how is Pfizer changing its recruiting process in order to meet demand?
So what we are doing as part of our recruitment process is to make sure that we are representing the society that we serve. And something where we have worked a lot and we keep working is in making sure that we have diversity every step of the way during the recruitment process. And that means that we need to bring a diverse slate of candidates from the beginning, and then we measure in every step of the interviewing process until the final decision that we also have diversity. And diversity means gender diversity, ethnic diversity, diversity of experiences, and many other aspects of diversity, because we believe that that's our responsibility, but also diversity brings a lot of value to the table. So this is definitely an area where we are working more and more, and this is aligned to our equity value. And we have publicly declared that what we call our opportunity parity goals, and by 2025, we want to have 47% of our VP plus positions with female colleagues, and also 32% of US minorities at VP plus level. And we are working and making great progress in that regard. So the representation and diversity in representation is definitely an area where we are enhancing our talent acquisition process.
Oh, Rodrigo, that's music to my ears to hear those goals and metrics that you guys are achieving for. One more question before I let you go. We talked about skills and growth in the hiring process. How important is one-to-one skills versus, say, coming to the job with perhaps other skills and the potential to grow within the job?
So I think that both are important, but the latter is more important. Your ability, to be able to and having the willingness to keep growing, because we don't need our candidates to be 100% perfect in terms of the job description. Actually, we are challenging a lot that, and we are asking the hiring managers within Pfizer to also look into transferable skills. And that means that sometimes when you're looking for a job, you want to kind of check all the boxes. But what we are encouraging our hiring managers to think is, maybe I can check 70% of those traditional requirements, but I can bring someone with a very different perspective that actually will add much more value to the table. So we think that people should grow within the position. If you don't have anything to learn, basically that position is not for you. You need to feel stretched. You need to feel that you are challenged and that you are going to learn new things. And also you can bring your own experience to that. So the ability to grow while you are doing that, the job is more important than having all the perfect technical skills.
Rodrigo, thank you for being on the show today, and for everyone who's watching this. We put together a list of the 25 fastest growing job titles, and vaccine specialist came in number 1, and we were just speaking with Rodrigo Puga, who is the VP of Global Talent Solutions at Pfizer. So if you're interested in what he said and any of the comments about company culture and how they hire, check out Pfizer's website for the job openings there. There are a ton. So thank you again, Rodrigo, for joining us on the show. And for everyone who put in comments and questions, thank you so much. Feel free to continue the conversation here. You can check out some of our other news stories to the right of your feed, or if you're on mobile, you can look into the search box. On Thursday, my colleague Caroline Fairchild launches her new show, Working Together, and she'll be speaking with the Carrot Fertility CEO, Tammy Sun. You won't want to miss that conversation. I'm Nina Melendez. Thank you so much for watching LinkedIn News Live.